Welcome to Angel to Exit, our March 2016 edition, The Basics. I'm your host, Fred Cohen, and today we're going to be talking about the basics of understanding the angel ecosystem and how it works in the context of the overall ecosystem of business growth and development. Angel investors are a critical part of the overall growth of business and business development in the United States and throughout the world. There are millions of businesses that are started up every year, and of course, millions of businesses close down every year. The ones that tend to be more successful are the ones that angels invest in. And I'll show you where it fits in the ecosystem now. You get innovators with hot ideas. In fact, here's a great example of a couple of kids that put hats on with wires that connect their brains together, and now they can think together. Great idea. Of course, the challenge is how do you turn that idea into a reality? So typically what happens is inventors, innovators with these hot ideas, they work with their friends and family to try and develop a business or at least develop a capacity to do the innovative thing that they thought of. They create a startup. So they might or might not form a corporation. Let's assume that they form some sort of a legal entity. And they start to try and develop that business. Friends, family, other people they know put in some small amount of money. And over time, they develop something that becomes worth turning into a business and perhaps even a small successful business. It's not uncommon. At some point, but that startup is going to have to get an infusion of expertise and knowledge and a hardworking entrepreneur that's going to try and turn that startup into a real business, something that can grow and prosper, become very large, expand on a statewide, national, international, global basis. And that's what an entrepreneur is all about. So once the entrepreneurs get involved, they want to grow the company and become very successful. If you want to grow beyond natural growth, that is the growth that you can get from that little bit of money from friends and family and from that natural evolution of the business where you sell to get cash. And when you get cash, you invest in the business and then you build the business a little bit more and so forth. If you want to grow more quickly, what you need is an infusion of two things. You need money, but you also need the other thing that angels bring, and that is connections and knowledge about how to succeed in particular niches and all sorts of assistance, if you will. That's what angel investment is about. After angel investment, at some point, maybe 3-5 years down the line, maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit longer, you have to get to the point where you're going to either sell the company or really grow it to be much bigger. Angel investors want to be able to make money, so they invest their money in order to get it out. And the way they get it out is either by selling or buying it back or going public. So at some point, typically you'll get to venture capitalists, and a venture capitalist starts with a going concern, a business that's reasonably successful, that's bringing in perhaps $3 to $5 million a year in sales. It's profitable. It has a good plan that's going to move forward quickly. And what the venture wants to do is give them $5 or $10 million to have them grow very quickly and then prepare them to exit. And of course, the venture capitalists have all sorts of large enterprises that have the capacity that they've worked with in the past to buy out these smaller companies. These exits then repay the investors and more, so that not only do the investors make money, but the people that started this business, the innovators and the entrepreneurs, get wealthy. That's the idea. So there are different viewpoints that different people have. And of course, people with their experience have different viewpoints and with their perspective have different viewpoints. But I'm going to just sort of briefly talk about the common things that we see, maybe the fallacies. The innovator's fallacy is that if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. It's an old saying and it's completely wrong. You can build the best mousetrap ever. You can demonstrate it. It'll be fabulous, but nobody's going to beat a path to your door. If you're going to succeed in business, you need, a way to get this sold, sold effectively. And very often, it's not the best mousetrap that makes the most money, or even that grows into the most successful business. Friends and family, those are those initial investors. They usually have the view Jane is clever and hardworking, and she's going to make it. So I'm going to put some money in, and I'm going to help Jane because I'm her friend, because I'm her family member, and because I think there's a real possibility that this is going to succeed. So I want to support Jane. The entrepreneur is there to build a business. They think that their job is to build a better mousetrap selling business and build up that business, better manufacturing business to manufacture those mousetraps so that they can sell more of them more effectively, better channels to be able to sell them through, more efficiently operating business so they can reduce the price and beat out the competition and this sort of thing. Angels are there to help the entrepreneur succeed. It's not just the money, it's everything else that angels bring to bear. But remember, they are putting in their money. It's their money. It's not some mysterious corporate money. It's their personal funds. They've earned it, or however they got it. They want their money to grow more money, not to just put it in. And they do care if you succeed, but they also invest for other reasons, right? So an example is a lot of angels invest in green technology because they think it's good for the planet and they want to save the planet. So there's a lot of different reasons that angels get involved, but at the end of the day, they also have to make money or else they're not going to succeed as an angel investor. Venture, lives on the notion that it takes money to make more money. So for venture capital, it's almost always entirely about the money. An example, Bain Capital, has $1 billion or almost $1 billion fund for cybersecurity. And, they invest $10 million in each of 100 companies. And, they'll maybe 60, 70% of them will fail. The rest of them will succeed to some level. And their goal is to get, a factor of 3 increase in their money over a period of 10 years. And then there's the exit. The exit happens, either you go public because you're so wildly successful that you can get, individual people to invest, or you have some larger entity that would rather buy what you have than try to build it on their own. Maybe it'll take them a long time. Maybe you have patents or other intellectual property rights. Maybe you have something, customers that they wish they had, you name it. But whatever the reason is, they're buying it instead of trying to build it. And so basically, if somebody is in a multi-billion-dollar business and they think they can take whatever you have, sell it to their, hundreds of thousands of customers as opposed to your 10,000 customers, they can add $1 billion to their business revenue by paying $50 million to you. I think they'll pay the $50 million. Why would you not? So the question that a lot of people then have is, well, what does it take to succeed? And so it turns out it's not as easy as it may look. For one thing, there are really only a few pots of gold in any given year. So of all the companies that start up, some number of years later, some of them are out of business, some of them are in business, some of them are really successful, but there are only so many pots of gold. There's only so many businesses that can ever get that successful because there's the rate of change of everything in the world is limited. And it takes a while to get there. It's not unusual to take 5 or 10 years. It looks like these businesses start up and sell immediately. 2 years after they started up, they sold for $1 billion to Google or something like that. The reality is most of the overnight successes are overnight successes after 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years of working at it. So it does take time to get there, and a lot of people underestimate how much time that is. Venture happens after millions of dollars of revenue. You have to typically be in the $3 to $5 million per year revenue range with profit, a proven business. That's the starting point. And then venture wants to grow that proven business that has a strong niche and an ability to grow quickly. And they want to help it grow into something very large and successful that can then sell out for an enormous amount of money, go public, and make them wealthy. Angels, these are typically individuals. You have to be qualified legally in the United States to invest as an angel investor. That means that either an individual has earned $200,000 in each of the last 3 years and expects to earn $200,000 this year, or a couple, husband and wife typically, have earned $300,000 for each of the last 3 years and are anticipating earning $300,000 this year. Or you have to have $1 million in addition to your primary residence. So that's adequate to allow you to legally invest. But most of these people are not billionaires or even 100 millionaires, or many of them are not 10 millionaires. Many of them are people that have worked most of their lifetime, and they're earning a good living, and they want to do something in addition to what they're earning, or maybe they're retirees and they have $1.5 or $2 million of retirement funds, and they want them to grow faster than the stock market, or the savings account. But they only have so much time and so much money. So they tend to support about 3 of every 100 applicants that show up to get funding. Entrepreneurs are betting something maybe even more valuable than money, of course. They're betting years of their lives, right? These people are going to be, spending typically 3, 5, 7 years, something like that, working on this business to try to generate a real success. And they're typically going to be taking less salary at that every year than they could take if they just got a job somewhere in an area where they're rarely successful and know how it works. So the successful ones are pretty picky. They're not just going to go for any business. They're going to go for a business that has all the right characteristics and that they can bring the other characteristics to. So if you're missing a few things and they know how to bring that to bear, then they'll make their bet on it. And then friends and family, of course, can only go so far. Unless you're a Rockefeller, or somebody like that, your friends and family can't lend you hundreds of millions or tens of millions or $100,000. They'll lend you a part of their office space, or let you use their computers or their infrastructure, or a couple thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. They may love you, but that only goes so far in terms of wiping them out. And then there are lots and lots of people that innovate. I mean, there are millions of good ideas, lots of good ideas, but not that many of those good ideas get realized in successful businesses. Now, this doesn't mean you should give up. You shouldn't. You got to know most startups fail, but many succeed. And why is it? Well, let me give you an example from an angel group that I'm part of. It's called Keiretsu Forum. It's the largest private angel group in the world with 2,500 members, about 45, 46 chapters right now in 4 continents. $80 million last year was invested by Keiretsu Forum members in 120 or so companies. So out of every 100 applicants, about 50 get substantial review. Usually this is because only about 50 of them even really fill out the forms reasonably well or have a sensible business idea in the view of the people that are looking at it. Out of those remaining 50, about 8 get to give a practice pitch. And when they give that practice pitch, they're explaining in 7, maybe 5, 10 minutes, something like that, just what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what their business is, why it should be successful, what their product or service is, who's running it, and so forth. A whole bunch of stuff. And out of those 8, about 4 get to pitch to the members. So 4 of them they say, well, we think it's a good idea, but you're not really ready yet. And out of those 4 that pitch in any given month, about 2 or 3 get funding in a period of 90 to 120 days. So, and again, that's 3 or 4 months before you'll get funding. So people that come with, I'm almost out of cash on my plan and I need more money to succeed, they're not, if you need it next month, this is not likely to be a success path for you. The ones that get funded, by the way, are not necessarily the best bets. They may not be the best businesses or the best ideas, but it is necessary that they are, better able to convey their message. So if you're better able to explain it, you're more likely to get funded. And by the way, if you're better able to explain it, you're more likely to be able to sell it too. So it's very important to understand how to explain what you're doing to these people so that they can understand from their perspective what's going on. Otherwise, they're not going to give you their money. And just look at the perspective that they have. Suppose I asked you for $25,000 to help me succeed in my business. Wouldn't you want a good reason to give me $25,000 of your hard-earned money? And by the way, if you had a better offer, you have 100 different people offering you something every month, why would you take mine instead of somebody else's? So when you present to people for funding, they need to understand why they would choose you over other alternatives, and you need to explain it to them. And you don't have much time to do it because, they're busy people. So I have a theory. My theory is that many businesses don't make it as far as they could because they just don't know what they need to succeed. And that's what Angel to Exit, this series, is all about. Now you have a sense of the overall ecosystem, what it looks like, and you know something about the process, and you know some reasons that not everyone makes it. But the idea of this series of talks and meetings and webinars and papers we're writing and articles free and for fee is to help all of us succeed. It's to help innovators understand what they need to succeed after they figured out a great idea. Help friends and family understand what they can do to help entrepreneurs figure out how to be more successful in getting funding and how to do a better job of picking and presenting the innovators and the ideas. Help angels make better decisions and get better people applying, people that know better how to apply. Help the people in venture capital to get better candidates from the angel investment communities. And then, of course, help get better exits, because we all want, more money coming out of the other end of it. The next step, of course, is you can sign up to our service. You're welcome to, watch for our periodic free content. But if you care to, you can certainly sign up for the service. It's a full year of Angel to Exit membership. And it includes monthly live webinars like this one on how to succeed, access to our library of recorded tutorials like this one, answers to your frequently asked questions. And as we get more questions, we'll fill in more answers. There are special offers for in-depth learning at discounted prices. For example, there are a variety of courses that you can take that are more intensive and that put you in front of angel investors. And in real time, you can practice a pitch and they can comment and help you develop and improve your pitch and so forth. People to help you in the due diligence process and such. And then, of course, you get new details of ongoing research, statistics on how many people succeed, what areas are hot. And as we learn more over time, you'll learn more about how to succeed. And of course, if you want, you can just get a complimentary subscription, which has reminders about our monthly free articles and occasional recordings of some of our webinars. So the way you sign up is you go to angeltoexit.com and sign right up. In the meanwhile, I'm going to be taking questions from the live audience. I'm going to unmute audience members and listen to your questions, but I'm going to stop recording because we respect your confidentiality.